Okay, so good evening, everyone,
Yeah, good evening.
and welcome to Peerbooking event. And in this event, we are hosting Nathan David Obinam Wako on this platform. So this is Peerbooking, and you're welcome to key factors to consider when choosing graduate school as your next career path. We have our guests already seated. Hello, you're welcome, Nathan David.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
Please repeat your
Great,
assignment
great,
if the
great,
need
great.
is
Yeah,
necessary.
so thank you so much also for joining us for this wonderful
Mm.
session. Before we start, we would like to know a little about you. Can you introduce yourself to our audience this evening?
All right, so because we have only 30 minutes, I'll try to be brief. My name is Nathan David. I did my bachelor's in civil engineering in Kia University, Ghana, and I'm currently pursuing a PhD in transportation engineering at Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So our guest speaker is a PhD candidate and he is in Northeastern University. Let's see what he has for us this evening. So our first question on board this evening is that when we say graduate school, what should students really understand beyond just doing a master's or a PhD?
Okay, so I see this to be a very open question, and my response can go in so many directions. I wonder if there is something very specific that you want me to talk about. Otherwise, I can give a general answer.
Yes, it's somehow generic. I mean, general overview of what students should perceive graduate school beyond just the masters or the PhD. What should they picture, or how can you picture graduate school in the minds of students?
Exactly. All right. That's great. So I know so many people that given the opportunity to pursue grad school, that is to do either a master's or a PhD in their home country, let's say Ghana, since I see many Ghanaians on the call, they wouldn't take on that opportunity, which means that they are not really interested in the degree, but they are just trying to find some way to escape the country, and they think using the school routes is the easiest way. I somehow agree with them on that, but that only works if you really know what goes into grad school. One question that I really get a lot is whether to pursue a master's or a PhD. So I guess so many people ask me, should I apply for a master's or a PhD? And my answer is very simple. Apply for what you think fits your career. We have a ton of PhD students right now who do not have any ambitions of working in a field that requires a PhD, which essentially means they are wasting their time. Consider two students. They both have a college degree and they want to apply for grad school. One enrolls in a master's degree for 2 years, finishes and goes into the job industry. The other enrolls in a PhD just because most PhD programs are fully funded. So by the time the master's student is done, the PhD student is still schooling for at
I
least,
think we
let's
are
maybe
missing you. Okay.
3 more years. And can you hear me okay?
Yes, you can hear
Yes.
you.
If the PhD student's career doesn't need a PhD, you finish school and end up in the industry, and the one that only has a master's is 3 years of experience ahead of you, and there is no way anybody will put you on top just because you hold a PhD. In America, nobody, well, degrees are respected, but what comes first is what you can contribute. If someone with just a high school diploma can contribute to the company better than you with a PhD, they will always put him ahead of you. So that's one thing I usually advise students to consider. If there is something else that you want me to talk about, I'm happy to do that.
Great. Thank you so much. I think this question is well answered. So it's not just about traveling, but it should be in alignment with your career choice. Okay. So the next question is that what are the wrong reasons students add something more to this question? That what are the wrong reasons students often choose graduate school?
All right, I'm not seeing. Okay, I see the question on the screen now. What are the wrong reasons students often choose graduate school? Okay, I think I partially answered.
Yeah, partially.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, but I still have even more to add. Right. So many students from developing country like my own country see that as a means of escaping the country, which isn't necessarily bad because at the end of the day, I don't really have the statistics, but for most students, they end up doing better than they would have done if they were back home. Right. So I have people that were doing really well back in Ghana, gainfully employed, and then they quit their jobs, enroll in a master's degree, and many master's programs are not fully funded. So some even end up funding their education with student loan.
I
And
think it
now
was
they're
again.
done with school, they don't have a job. And
Oh,
I know tons of people like that. They finish school and they couldn't find a job and they are currently in illegal status in America and
wow.
they are completely screwed up. I'm not saying this to scare. It's just like a possibility that you should consider when weighing your options. Of course, I mean, on average, if you're able to find a job in the US, US workers are paid way higher than Ghanaian workers, but honestly, sometimes it's really not worth it. Anybody that's close to me knows that I am very passionate about Ghana and I'm looking forward to getting the opportunity to contribute. Someone might say, if you are passionate, then why then did you leave? You cannot help when you have nothing to offer,
That's true.
right? So I'm hoping to get what I think I would need, and as soon as I reach that milestone, I am relocating to Ghana.
Good, 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 good.
Yeah, but I mean, on the other hand, many students come in, it works well for them. I've seen students that have ended up as burdens to their friends, to their families. Like it's not really a very pleasant experience for some people. And one thing I would say to add is, of course, life is better on average in the developed world than in Ghana in so many respects. And by the grace of God, I've had the opportunity to travel to about 20 developed countries.
Wow.
America still sort of seems like one of the top countries, right? But even in America, there is a research that Forbes conducted, and I believe all of you know Forbes, this
Yeah.
very reputable company. And they said that 69% of Americans, we can approximate that to 70% of people living in America cannot find $1,000 emergency bail. If you're
Interesting.
in Ghana and you hear this statistic, it will sound ridiculous. There is no way in the world that you would believe something. You would never believe it. I'm telling you guys right now, I know most of you think I'm telling lies. I can pull out the link and send it to you. But if you've lived in America, at least for a short period, you will know and understand that everybody is in debt. And life is really hard for some people. And there is an overwhelming majority of the population, if they lose their jobs, they are going homeless in 3 months. Nobody has money lying down anywhere. Of course, that is a bit of a stretch. I mean, no generalization is 100% correct. So when I say nobody, I don't mean nobody, right? So of course, some people have money, but I'm just giving you an idea of how life could be in America. Yeah, but of course, if you end up making good decisions and things fall in pleasant places for you, not everything is within your control, but um, you may there is a chance you would end up not being part of the 70%. Um, yeah. Are you on the line?
Great. Thank you so much. I think this question has been deeply answered because you give us the fact that you shouldn't see. Hello. Yeah. So you shouldn't picture life out there to be too rosy and make just straight and wrong decisions. But you should make sure that everything you're doing is in alignment with what you're gonna do. But it's just not to scare us, and it's just um, some kind of information he's given us to open our eyes for the reality. Now, our third question. It says that what factors should a student consider before choosing a country, university, or a program for graduate school?
Okay, great. So I will answer the question this way. Like, so I would ask myself what factors I considered when I was deciding on the country, right? So many factors, right? And um, of course, you would want to be a country that is doing very well in the area that you want to study in, but it shouldn't be that alone. So I would use my situation as an example. I am studying transportation engineering. I know it is very hard to believe, but amongst the developed countries, America is somewhere at the bottom when it comes to transportation engineering. It is like the only developed country that is still seeing an uptrend in traffic fatalities, which is not a very good thing. Our roads are very unsafe due to some bad decisions that were made a few decades ago. Right. So America is not exactly the best place to learn transportation engineering, which is part of the reasons why I've been spending all of my summers in Europe, especially in the Netherlands since I started my PhD. I am speaking to you right now from the Netherlands, not from America. All right.
Wow.
So why then did I choose America if America is not the best or nowhere near the best when it comes to transportation engineering? Other reasons like funding, there is way more or yeah way more yeah there is way more funding for grad school in the US than any other country in the world. Like it's insane even now that the current US federal administration is trying to limit funding, cut down research grants here and there. It is still quite a lot in America, right? So it's very easy to get funding. And another reason is for grad school, especially for a PhD, the university's ranking in isolation really doesn't matter.
Okay.
It matters to some extent because there is some form of correlation. That's why I said in isolation. What matters at the end of the day, you're not studying all the courses in the university. Even in the departments, you're not studying all the concentrations or all the courses in your department. At the end of the day, you'll be working with one person or maybe just a few people. So that is also something you would want to look at. My professor is a very top guy in the field. He has lived in Europe, and I say Europe because when it comes to transportation, like public transportation in general, Europe is ahead, especially the Netherlands. He has lived in Europe for a long time. Every summer he's been coming to Europe, and I'm here with him. Right. So he is really experienced and he's not like the ordinary American professor. He has 3 degrees from MIT. He has done
Wow.
some groundbreaking research, right? So I chose the university because of him. My current school is prestigious, but not the most prestigious school that I got into. But because I knew that the university's ranking in isolation means nothing, I decided to choose that one. So you would want to be, especially for PhD, know whom you're going to work with. And yeah, because your research advisor determines a lot about your whole life. That is even more important than the name of the university. So
University.
I would say I did
Okay.
very well. I carefully chose my research advisor. And we've been getting along really well. Of course, once in a while we fight, which is normal between um, um, supervisors and students, but I really like him. You talk about university. Yeah, so some schools, let me let me then again, let me talk about my school, right? So my
Okay.
school, we have the biggest co-op program. Co-op is just like a fancy word for some sort of extended internship, something like that. So um, for the purpose of this meeting, let's just call it internship. My school has the biggest internship program in the whole country. Like the return on investment is really high because by the time you are done with your degree, especially for undergrad and masters, there is a chance that you would have had even more than like 18 months of internship experience. Like we are
Wow.
well connected to so many companies and we have people that will help you get in. And if you're able to do some of these internships, many a times the companies want to keep you for full time after school. The reason is that they've already invested in you during the internship. They've trained you, so it's cheaper to keep you unless maybe there really isn't a position available for you or you didn't impress them enough. So the return on investment is really high. So that's also one thing you would want to consider, especially if you are funding your own master's degree. Um, so I know so many people that in my school they studied on loan. Well, not like so many people, like 100 people, but I know a good number of people that studied with student loan. But as I speak to you right now, they've been able to clear their debts
Wow.
because the school positioned them very well. So it's a private institution charging ridiculous tuition fees, but at the end of the day, the return on investment is really high. So that's also one thing you would want to consider. This opportunity isn't fully available for PhD students because as a PhD, you're technically employed all year round, and even during the summer, you're doing research, but you can talk to your advisor and get some internship experience. Like I said a few minutes ago, I spent most of my summers in Europe. I've always been doing this since I started my PhD, but I was still able to negotiate with my advisor to do so. I did like some 2 months of internship this year before coming to Europe, somewhere in California, and it
Wow.
worked pretty well. So these are, I mean, there is a ton of things to consider, right? And some things are also personal. I talk to some people, they don't want to come to America because of gun violence. That's valid. But if you want more information on that, I mean, of course, there is gun violence. I've seen guns before, but if you look at it in terms of the likelihood of you being gunned down and the other risk that
Ah,
you face in that country, I mean, there is risk everywhere, right?
yeah.
So people are more risk averse to certain types of risks than some other types of risks. So, um, yeah. Other people are also afraid to come to America because America is always fighting with another country. So they are afraid that they will wake up one day and
Yeah, go on.
Iran has bombed the country or something like that. Yeah. So So the bottom line is you know yourself better than anyone else. Just make sure that you are not making decisions based on assumptions. I see far too many people making decisions based on assumptions. So usually, what I do is to not tell people what to do. Like, come to America, read this program, do it. No. I would make sure I would give you enough information just to make sure that you're making well informed, rational decisions. Yeah. I don't know if there is
Great,
any.
great, great. I think it's far more well answered because you've given us so much, and that is very powerful, very experiential as well. So this is peer booking. If you haven't signed up yet, go to peerbooking.live and create your profile. If you have any expertise you think you can share with people and earn, just set up your coaching profile and that is all. You can take screenshots and scan straight away. And also you can win $20 on peer booking and get the opportunity to book so many coach of your choice. Just simply refer 10 people and at least three coaches to sign up and that is all. You can get this opportunity. So our next question says, what are the most important materials students need to prepare for graduate school applications?
Yeah, so I would try to give a very simple answer to this. So
Okay.
every school has their own requirement, but of course some of them are common to many schools like CV and statements of purpose and recommendation letters. I wouldn't rank any of them above the other, even though admission boards have their own rubrics that they use. They may put more weight on this than that. For example, I know some schools that no longer regard GRE scores because they know that people in Ghana are cheating. There are so many ways to cheat, and it's ridiculous how someone can do poorly in their undergrad and their whole academic life and end up with a perfect GRE score. That is practically, statistically impossible, right? So if you cheat this way and they see your scores, they know, and well, not all of them know, but the smart
Which means
schools
you.
know, right?
Okay.
So um, such a school might not put too much weight on GRE scores. How would you know the weighting? You will never know, except if you've sat on admission boards before. Of course, I'm a student and I've never sat on any admission board, but my advisor is like the lead for the transportation group, something like that. So I know something beyond other students, right? What I can tell you is that you really don't know what they focus more on. So, a simple answer to this question, which I believe works regardless of the situation, is that you consider each application document as though it were the only one that the admission board or the scholarship board or whatever will base your admission or scholarship on. So if you're submitting um, an SOP, for example, a statement of purpose, assume that that is the only document that everybody is submitting. So after you write that essay, ask yourself, assuming this is the only thing everybody is submitting, do I think this will take me anywhere? Right. One mistake that supposedly smart some supposedly smart students do is that well they feel they have a first class degree, so they don't really need to do much when it comes to the other things. That is wrong, right? Um, you need to treat each of the application documents as though that's the only one they'll base the admission and scholarship on. Um, I wanted to say something else, but I've forgotten.
Okay. Okay. So I think that is very powerful for this question. Okay, so we move to I think the fifth question and almost the final question approaching. Is it that what opportunities can graduate school open beyond just getting another degree? I mean, can you just pinpoint some few opportunities that you should expect after graduate school?
It varies. Um, I've met a lot of people that respect graduate degrees. I don't know why. Like when I went to do my internship, people respected me just because I'm a PhD candidate. And yeah, so maybe you can get respect. But that's just by the way. So grad school has allowed me to visit so many countries. That is one opportunity that I've had from grad school. So I've had a chance to experience the world from different lenses and perspectives. It has also helped me build my social capital. I've sat in meetings with very high profile people in the US government and some other places I cannot mention their name just because of the program I am reading. Um, yeah, I like, you know, the whole university system, education. It's the university is a community, right? And there is a lot you can gain from. school beyond obtaining a degree. That is where people get the opportunity to exhibit their leadership skills. That is
Okay.
where people get connected to lifetime friends. You can find a girlfriend who future wife in school. Yeah, so the key is being open minded and positioning yourself for um, some of these opportunities. Yeah, people have met startup co-founders in school. I mean, that is the best place to meet such people, right? Yeah. So these are just a few opportunities aside or beyond just getting another degree.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for this question. So, who are confused about their career? I don't know if you heard me right.
Yeah. So many people that are confused do not understand that any decision that you make in this world has a trade-off, right? If you choose alternative A, you should be willing to accept the downsides and, of course, the benefits. And alternative B might not come with the same benefits as alternative A, and alternative B can also have its own disadvantages. So the only thing that causes confusion is you have so many things on the table and you really don't know what to choose, and it becomes hard when
Frozen.
when these benefits and disadvantages are in different units. But one thing I advise people, this might sound very theoretical, but it works all the time, right? You have different things on the table, right? Some, I mean, they all come with their own advantages and demerits, right? The easiest thing to do is to list all of them. And of course, they wouldn't be in the same unit, so you might end up comparing apples to oranges. But I mean, you can convert all of them to the same units, and it's easy to convert many things to money, right? So um, converting everything to today's dollars, you're able to tell which alternative or which path will be the most beneficial to you given your future ambitions. Like I said, this this might sound very theoretical to some people, but if you sit down, just sit down, take a pen. You know, it's not very easy doing it mentally. Be honest with yourself. Take a pen and paper and list all the advantages and disadvantages that you can think of. Seek information from ex- experts. This is what I think. Is it really true? What's this situation like? And then try and assess um, how much weight each of these carry and try to put them on the same scale, and that would help you choose what you think is best for you.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this is the end of our meeting. As I said, this is peer booking. And if you haven't signed up yet, just go to peerbooking.live and make sure. So our guest speaker is a coach on peer booking. If you have any plenty questions, any doubt that you want a personal conversation with him, please visit Peerbooking. Is going to give you the best that you want to ask. Maybe you're accepting only two questions. That should be okay. If you have just two questions, our time is up. It's open for any question in mind. Ask. Hello, Jeffrey. Are you talking?
No, please.
Okay.
Um,
Can you mute yourself then? Okay, thank you.
okay.
Anyone having a question?
Yes, please. Can I ask the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm Clifford, currently at the United Kingdom, wrapping up with
Okay.
my MSc journey. I would want to ask our expert that whenever someone is considering a PhD with um, a specific research, if possible, a steady journey planned, that means the person has the exact thing he wants to set, he wants to research into, want to get more insight into. Should a person consider joining a lab which shares that same interest, or should the person be willing to accept a lab focusing on a different thing, but with possible transition of the skills that he has applied from his previous studies?
That's a very good question. So, um, you know yourself better than anyone else. You know whether you will thrive in this other area or not. I feel like the way education is, or the way I want to believe that you schooled in Ghana, the way Ghanaian education is, it forces us to only think in one direction. So a general science student doesn't want to put in any effort to learn about history, to learn about governance, right? I think if you're someone that is curious about trying new things and you are willing to accept challenges, you really want to pursue a PhD. You don't want to go back to Ghana and help develop a country with the knowledge you've acquired from your masters. You really want to do a PhD. But maybe the opportunities in your preferred area are limited. If you don't have a problem um, pivoting to a different field, I don't think it's harmful to do that. But one thing you should know about doing a PhD is, everybody says PhD, 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 PhD. Some people end up having really terrible experience doing a PhD. It is not always fun. It is. It comes with excruciating pain, and this pain is worse, or it feels more painful if you're not even interested in what you're doing. That is why it is always advisable to at least have some interest in the area. So when you're suffering in a positive way, right? Yeah, but another thing I want to add is that most people think when we talk about the skills required for a PhD, people are thinking about hard skills. So if it's chemistry, you're thinking about things like titration that has got nothing to do with a different field. No. Of course, these skills are important, but they are the easiest to learn. Anybody can learn how to do titration. Anybody can learn how to do titration, but the skills that matter even more and that are a stronger determinant of your success in grad school or in a PhD program are the soft skills like time management, soft skills like attention to detail, soft skills like communication skills. You can have the best research, you can be the most hardworking person, but if you cannot communicate your results, the new methodology that you've developed to an audience, everybody will think you are stupid, and there is nothing you can do to change that, right? So these soft skills that are applicable across all disciplines are even more important than doing a PhD, which is why I started answering my sorry, what did I say? Are even more important than the hard skills, sorry, which is why I started answering my question by saying it's a different field. Yes, but at the end of the day, what will really make you succeed is not even those hard skills that you lack. It is those soft skills that you're able to transfer there. If you're really smart, you should be able to thrive, even in a completely different area. When I was doing my internship a few months ago, my boss um, has a degree in sociology. He attempted a PhD in sociology. He couldn't finish it. He dropped out and got a master's degree in sociology as well. And now he is leading a transportation engineering company. He knows way better than all the people that have engineering degrees because he possesses some skills that he was able to transfer. Of course, when it comes to transportation stuff, anybody can. And let me tell you, at the workplace, nobody is really even doing any groundbreaking stuff. Anything that goes on at the workplace that, well, not quite anything, but at most workplaces, high school students can be taught to do the exact same thing. Like people talk about these softwares, AutoCAD. It's all about clicking. Anybody can click. A mouse can be trained to click. A cat can be trained to click. Right. So anybody can do that work. Right. Those hard skills, anybody can learn them. At the end of the day, what will set you apart is the soft skills.
Okay. Clifford, are you well answered?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, okay. Is there any last question? Then maybe we end the meeting. Only one question more. Is in one up. Okay, you can go ahead, Michael.
Okay, thank you for this amazing opportunity. So I'm Michael Bambel, a final year student, pursuing my bachelor's degree. And so I intend to apply for direct PhD right after my bachelor's at the United States. Based on my little research that I have done so far, I realize that some of the schools directly give automatic scholarship to students or applicants. And also, I would like to ask if it is still important or necessary for you to cold email the various faculties and then lecturers. So that's my question. Thank you.
All right, I will try and give a very simple answer. Yes, many PhD programs, in fact, nearly all PhD programs in the US have been funded. The answer to the second question, or maybe the actual question, is I think it is still important for you to do that. In other words, there really is no harm in doing that. I know some departments where you are not assigned to any advisor from the beginning, like some chemistry labs. Lots of people get admission, and in the first year, you do some rotation. And if you're lucky, you match with a professor. If you're not, and you're unable to find a match, they just sack you. Right. So, in such situations, cold emailing doesn't really change anything. Right. But in many situations, you need to cold email. Yeah, even if it's not necessary, there is no harm in doing that.
Okay, Michael, are you
Okay.
answered?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for joining, everyone. And this brings us to the end of the key factors to consider when choosing graduate school as an option. And this is peer booking once again. If you haven't signed up, and if you have any more questions, please do well to visit peer booking. Nathan David has got a coaching profile. You just go, you book him, and you can have one-on-one and a deeper conversation for any strategies you want to look out for in your application. So until then, bye bye for now. Thank you so much, Nathan David, for having you on board once again. And your wonderful journey.
It's an
Okay, bye
absolute pleasure.
everyone.
All right, bye.
Please, I beg, give me a second. I think the meeting has ended. I have to end the has ended. I have to end the recording. I think I can end it.